It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Thursday, August 8th. I'm Wendy Corr, bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily newsroom, brought to you by the Wyoming State Fair. Beginning August 13th in Douglas, the Wyoming State Fair has something for everyone. For more information, visit wystatefair.com. The Campbell County Sheriff says a Wright, Wyoming man who shot at a deputy just as the deputy exited his car Sunday has been identified as 55-year-old Christopher Morales. Sheriff Scott Matheny told Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland that the deputy's body cam video shows that just as the car dings to indicate that the deputy has opened his car door, Morales fires the shotgun.
In that moment, the shotgun blast hits the windshield in front of the deputy, or very near to where the deputy was. And so we know that there had to be this split decision: duck back into the car or rush out and take refuge behind it. Matheny said that the deputy followed his training in using the car as a shield. And then, of course, he yelled, "Drop the gun." And he returned fire and he killed Morales on scene.
Matheny told Cowboy State Daily he believed that divine intervention was at work protecting the deputy. Dee Dee Anders knew she was too sick to ride 620 miles across Mongolia, but then she was abandoned halfway around the world Wednesday. The Powell woman was there to compete in the Mongol Derby, but race organizers left her in a hotel room without medical care. Anders told Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi that she didn't even get to start the race.
She recognized she wasn't well enough, and then all they did was they got a driver to take her back to Ulaanbaatar from the start, which was an 8-hour car ride while she had a pretty intense gastrointestinal illness. She had to reserve her hotel herself through Expedia and find her own flight home. So to say she's not a happy camper is a bit of an understatement.
Anders said the earliest she'll be able to leave Mongolia is August 11th. Now the Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate for this November's election, the Midwestern politician's energy policies are in the spotlight. No surprise, Walz is a big proponent, just like Harris, in pushing for clean energy initiatives, which for Wyoming means a sharp turn away from fossil fuels, according to energy reporter Pat Mayo.
I think the buzzword here is green grid. He's big on that. Going completely green on alternative forms of energy like wind and solar by 2040, which kind of aligns with the Biden administration. So it's going to be more of that with Tim Walz.
During his tenure as governor of Minnesota, Walz placed his state on track to transition to clean energy even faster than California, which for decades has been at the forefront of efforts to tackle climate change. I'll be back in just 15 seconds with more news.
In southwest Wyoming, wide open space is waiting. This is how we explore it. In Rock Springs and Green River, Wyoming. Plan your adventure at explorewy.com.
Landon Brown's Republican primary opponent has resurrected a 2022 CNN interview in which he praised Liz Cheney and called former President Donald Trump unfit for office. But in a Wednesday interview with Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland, Landon Brown called Exie Brown's Facebook post old news and questioned whether it's relevant in 2024.
He said, well, I still don't like the almost cult-like following of Trump. I reserve the right to disagree with him. But he said that he's noticed more humility in the former president since July 13th assassination attempt against him. He said he agrees with many of Trump's policies, but he wants to hold conservative ideals higher than he holds the man.
Landon Brown doesn't back away from standing by Cheney in 2022, saying he believes she defended the U.S. Constitution while in office. He also pointed to her conservative congressional record. A historic Wyoming ranch that's been in the same family since 1895 has just landed on the market, and it's a humdinger of a listing. The Antlers Ranch near Meeteetse is listing for $85 million. That makes it the most expensive listing in Wyoming right now, and for once, it's not from Jackson Hole. The property ranges from river bottoms and valleys at the low point to timbered alpine peaks at the high point, and everything in between, according to Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean.
There aren't many opportunities to own something like this. This ranch controls more than 40,000 acres, including 16,532 deeded acres. It's been in the same family since 1895. That's almost as long as Wyoming has been a state. The history of this ranch, it's just the history of Wyoming itself.
Antlers Ranch is a working ranch with plenty of housing for both its next owners and its staff, as well as a variety of buildings associated with making this a turnkey ranching operation if the next owners so choose. And just when it seems Wyoming has hit its boiling point with 100-degree temperatures in some spots, a cold front from Canada will cool things off in a big way Thursday and Friday. The cold front started moving across northwest Wyoming on Wednesday and will shock people's summertime systems with daytime high temperatures plunging anywhere from 10 to 30 degrees, depending on where you are, according to Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi.
We're seeing close to a 30-degree difference between Wednesday in Cheyenne and Thursday in Cheyenne. The high is going to be 58 on Thursday. But the thing of it is, these kind of cold fronts can bring seasonal change, but it's still too far in the summer for that to happen. So once we get into Monday, we're going to get back into the 80s and the 90s that we've been experiencing.
The cold front from Canada won't last long, and the summer heat will return by next week. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.